What's going on, guys? Rob Bifo here, coming at you with a review of a custom lightsaber hilt. It is the RVJ Gunmetal variant from Ultimate Works and or the pack store. You get it from the pack store, produced by a company called Ultimate Works. I did an unboxing video of this already, and I kind of went into why I decided to get this saber over, any of the other ones. I mean, I got the Revan blade in general. I was searching for a Revan hilt primarily because Revan's my favorite Star Wars character. So this was my first venture into getting a custom lightsaber. So obviously the first one that I was going to get was, it just had to be a Revan one. But I decided to go with this gunmetal variant one, and we'll take like a close look at all the internals and everything on this thing throughout the video here. But I decided to go with this one because I wanted to get, both the normal traditional ones that, like he has a Sith blade and then the Jedi blade, and this is the Jedi blade. A lot of people think that this is the Sith blade because it has that look to it, and his Jedi blade's a very like standard, basic looking, non-intimidating looking hilt. So I totally get the confusion when people see each of them and think the other one is, what. But I decided to get this one because normally there's a lot of companies out there who make both the Jedi blade and the Sith blade for Revan, and they normally make them kind of as a set in a lot of ways. Like, they sell them separately, but they'll make them with similar dimensions. So it was one thing I was actually kind of looking for, was to buy both of them from the same company, so they would at least be similar, if not perfectly identical in size and everything. Unfortunately, I was looking at Vader's Vault initially to accommodate that, right? To get both of them. But for one, Vader's Vault is very expensive. It would have been somewhere around like $2,000 to get each of them. And I was kind of obviously hesitant on that because, like I said, this is my first one that I got. But as if a sign of God or something happened, the Sith blade ended up going out of stock at Vader's Vault. So my whole buying both of them didn't really work out. So I decided to get this one because I thought it was a nice way to split the difference, if you will, because I don't need a matching set for this one. And it's still a Revan blade, and I really liked the whole clean gunmetal look. Like, it just looked very, very clean. But anyway, let's just get into the review here, and I'll stop yabbering on about why I bought it and everything, because I know everyone's here for the review, right? So, as you saw, I gave you a quick rundown over the detailing on it is really great, in all honesty. There were some things now, I will say too, just to back up for like 2 seconds, if you are interested in actually buying a matching set of the original one, the only difference with this one and the more screen accurate Revan blade is that it has more of a chrome finish, and there's black detailing like along this section here. There's like some black detailing, and then there's these little notches here will be black. But as far as the like actual like finish color, it's more of a chrome silver as opposed to this gray gunmetal look. So that's really the only difference with this one. And Ultimate Works and the pack store, they do have the two regular versions. The main reason I didn't want to get those from the pack store was because there are a couple, at least on the images, there were a couple things that looked like they were lacking in details, at least as far as like the overall design of the hilt, that other companies like Vader's Vault and Core Banff, they have them on the hilt. So, and it's kind of hard with that. I can probably pop up a picture here once I'm done here and editing the video to kind of showcase some of the differences I'm talking about. But I was very surprised to see when I got this one that it does have some of the details that I was kind of afraid of it missing at one point, because it was kind of hard to see in the pictures on their website. But just like a quick reference here is like, and I'll throw the other pictures up, but the main differences that like this absolutely does not have is down here on the bottom towards the pommel. There's like a section here that's about like half a centimeter large here, almost about the size as this little end bezel. That's actually supposed to be black, so they're missing that altogether. And then there's a little bit more detailing on these like notches here that you can see that are actually like beveled in these like right there. They look different on like Core Banff's looks different, Vader's Vault looks different. They just have like a different design to it. But this right here was something I was actually surprised to see actually being on here because from the pictures on Ultimate Works website, it actually didn't even look like they had them all together. But I still decided to get this one because of its uniqueness and it's still having the classic Revan design to it. So, and that's kind of why I went with it. And then you can see here the little design that you have in here. This is actually a black metal plate that's so it's a separate piece, but it's been adhered to the device to like the hilt itself. So you can't remove it or anything. I guess you could remove it if you wanted to, but it's supposed to be there, but it's not like painted or anything. It's its actual the own separate piece that they've adhered to it. It does come with a cover tech wheel. Whoops, accidentally hit the auxiliary button. So yeah, it does come with a cover tech wheel on the bottom here. It did come with a blade plug right here. And then if you activate it, it does allow the light to come through, which is nice. So it's a pretty nice little blade plug. Aside from that, there's holes for the speaker here on the bottom. So the sound comes out pretty nicely. It's pretty loud with the speaker that came in here. It does get pretty loud. You have two retention screws. So if you have the blade plug-in, you only need to worry about this one to tighten and loosen, to either insert or remove the blade plug. This bottom one will be used if you install your blade. So I have the Proffie NeoPixel setup for this one. So I do have a NeoPixel blade. It came with a 36-inch NeoPixel blade. It came with also a little stand. It's a little just clear acrylic stand here. Just has two screws. They just screw into it, and that's it. And there's came with O-rings for each side, so it doesn't damage the acrylic or anything. Nothing crazy by any means, but I wasn't even aware that it was going to be included into the package, so that was nice. The stand works. Like I said, it's nothing crazy, but it does hold the hilt up, so you have that. This is kind of short, but I imagine you could go to like Home Depot or something and probably buy a longer tube here to actually screw into it if you wanted to kind of extend it out a little bit further. I'm sure it wouldn't be hard to find something to replace that with, but like I said, didn't even know it was going to come with it, just included with it, so it works. Makes me not have to buy one specifically for this hilt now, right? Other than that, the one like kind of negative I have with it so far, and this isn't actually anything against the hilt, it's more or less something that, from what I gather, is just kind of something that the pack store does with their Proffie boards. For whatever reason, they don't include the Proffie config file on the SD card. It did come loaded with some fonts, and we're going to go through and I'll demo all the fonts that actually came on the Saber itself. I haven't added any of my own fonts to it yet, so I just, for the review purposes and everything, I wanted to showcase exactly how it was. But yeah, the only thing I really don't care for so far is that they don't include that config file. So you actually have to like go and do all that yourself. And this being my first one, I haven't actually done it like before in the past or anything. So that is one thing I'm kind of like, is odd because, like I said, they already have it preloaded with some fonts, so I don't know why they wouldn't just already have this config file. And I wish, like, if anything, they would at least email this to you, because you can kind of see down here at the bottom, like, supposedly you actually have to type in this entire line of code yourself. And I mean, it's not really a big deal, but if any of you are familiar with coding, I mean, one space in the wrong place, your whole code doesn't work. You know what I mean? So if you just mess up one character on here just because of the way it was printed, and you think there's a space there or something, I mean, it's just not going to work. So that's kind of it can be kind of confusing. So I mean, it's not. I work in IT, so like this isn't like crazy to me. Like, it's not difficult for me to like wrap my head around it, but it's just an odd choice, and I don't really understand why they would do that with, like I said, they already have fonts on it. Why don't they just have the config file already on it? So that's kind of weird. And I have heard of people just actually reaching out to them and they were able to send them the config file. which honestly, again, just kind of adds more to the confusion. It's like, well, if you can do that, why don't you just include it on the SD card to save everybody the hassle? But that's really my only negative with it, because as far as the overall hilt, I like how it looks overall. In addition to the blade plug, though, before we pop the blade in here and demo the sound fonts and everything, the activation button right here is LED, but it is not RGB. So it doesn't matter what your blade color is, it's always going to be this this color right here. But there is that, and then obviously this right here is your auxiliary button, so that will actually change your font. So you will press it. If your blade's active right now, you'll get the like right now I have it on. So if you press the button, you're going to get blaster effects. And then you would also hold it down and just flash. So then there is smooth swing. So, and I'm not 100% sure if my mic picked a lot of that up, because I do have like noise cancellation like software and stuff that runs, so it might block some of it out. So when I do the demo of everything, I'm going to use the built-in mic on the camera, so you should be able to hear the smooth swing and sound effects all just fine. So, but that pretty much covers it for the overall initial design of the hilt. I like how it feels and everything. It actually feels pretty good. I know there are some people who don't really care for like wielding this thing too much, because these like kind of notches that they have here for the blade kind of gets in the way. But all things considered, it actually feels pretty good, and like my hand wraps, all the way around it pretty well. So, I mean, it feels okay. These definitely, it's not gonna feel as like smooth and have a good fit in your hand like any sort of lightsaber that wouldn't have this here, obviously. But all things considered, I think it actually feels pretty decent with it there. The only other thing, I guess, too, I guess let's go over this real quick. We'll take out the blade plug. So you just unscrew, like I said, this top one, and then there you go. There's the blade plug itself, so you can have a look at that. That's all it really is. Nothing too fancy by any means, but I do like the clear there, so you can actually see the light coming through. And then here's, I don't know if you'll be able to actually see down inside. Uh, kind of. So you can see here, let me turn it on too. So as you can see, there are the LEDs in there going off on the NeoPixel connector thing down there in the bottom. So that's all good. And before we pop the blade in, I'll show you the chassis, because they do have a pretty cool chassis design anymore. Here's the pommel. It's pretty small. There it is. Like I said, there are the holes for it. So with this, if you're not familiar with at least how these chassis are set up, it's got this little screw here, but you don't actually unscrew anything with that. All you do is pull that out. So you're just gonna, sorry, I was blocking the light there. So this right here, you're just gonna grab this and just pull on it. You might need to like pull it. It's a snug fit. So you pull it in. You gotta apply a little effort. But you just pop that out, and the one thing you will want to kind of notate, and it does actually kind of say this on the instructions too. So just make sure, obviously, if you order this a Proffie NeoPixel blade from Ultimate Works or the pack store, you're gonna have to keep those instructions so you have your config file information for the Proffie stuff. So, but it does notate to kind of keep an eye on the direction that this is inserted. So you can see when I first pulled it out, it was aligned. These little arrows, essentially, right here on the chassis, were lined up with the whole center section where the actual activation switches are. The reason you want to kind of notate that is because that is how this is going to reconnect into it. So, and it's kind of hard to see. It's too deep in here for me to actually like kind of show you. But yeah, there's a connector like circuit board kind of thing down in there that this has to line up with. So that's why you want to make sure you're putting it in the same way, because if you go in the wrong way and actually apply force, you can damage the circuitry on the bottom. You don't want to do that. But one cool thing to kind of note, fun fact with these removable chassis, the way that these function, you can pull it in, and like I said, when I pulled mine out, these arrows were lined up with the activation switches. If you rotate it 180 degrees, so if I were to put it in essentially backwards, that would actually still work, and what it would do is reverse your buttons here. So right now, with it in this configuration, at least how this one is set up, when these little arrows here are lined up with the buttons, that makes the bigger button be your power button, and then this one be your auxiliary button. So you change fonts and sounds with the small one and everything. But if I flip it around 180 degrees and insert it, it'll be the opposite. So this would become the power button, and this would become the auxiliary button. So fun fact for just how these chassis are designed, and I think that's actually kind of unique. I don't know about unique, but it's a cool way of going about it because it provides you with a couple options. If it's just personal preference, which button you'd rather press, turn on and off, right? And then I do really like these chassis as well. It comes with a removable battery here. The design of it, it's real sturdy and everything. It's all good there. The SD card is going to be right down in there behind that little piece of like yellow there. And then there is a micro USB connection right there as well. So you can just plug this straight into your computer, or you can take the SD card out, whatever you, again, personal preference. And again, one of the reasons why I like this chassis is you can actually see right here, there are two little tiny, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, but they are buttons. They're not just little pieces of metal. And you can click one, like for instance, the top one. That's essentially your power switch. And then you can actually see what color your saber is, like what this sound font, which color it is. So it's kind of cool. And then like you can cycle through them and everything just the same way. So if I turn it off by pressing the power button on the top, now if I click the bottom one, it's cycling through my fonts right now. So now if I turn it back on after I've changed fonts, as you can see, not doing what it was before. So it's pretty cool. It gives you an idea of I mean, if you're going through and you're like setting up fonts on here and you kind of forget which one forget which ones you have on there, what order it is, or you're trying to test a new one out that you're trying to make yourself, the fact that you can just put your battery and SD card back into the chassis and then just turn it on here to see at least if it's working in some capacity, like if the sound font, like the sound file you're trying to use, if it's working and playing in the right spot, or the colors doing what you want it to do. I like that you can actually see that and kind of give it just a little way of testing like the fonts and everything prior to you having to reassemble everything just to find out that, oh crap, I didn't do this right. You know what I mean? So I actually kind of like that you can do that with it. So but without further ado here, we're going to go ahead and, like I said, we'll reassemble this. And when you do reinsert this, okay, when you go to put it in, like I said, obviously notate which direction it is so you can kind of make it easier. But you can see where, like if you didn't look at it, don't worry. Just look at the bottom of it. You'll see that the way it's a rectangle, right? So you can know which way you're putting it in. So you just kind of look at it, line it up with it, and then you'll feel it kind of click into place without applying any effort. You can just kind of wiggle it around a little bit and you'll feel it go into place. Kind of, I think I said this during the unboxing video, but it's kind of like imagine blindly assembling a Lego. Like you'll feel when it all lines up right, and then once you feel that, you just give it a click, you just push it down, and it will click into place. So you do have that. But from there, it's in there. And then you'll know too, if you did, like I said, you got to apply a good amount of force to actually pull it out. So if you'll know that you don't have it plugged in all the way if you can just pull it out without any sort of effort. So there we go. Now it should still be working. And there it is. So obviously I put it in the right way because this is still the power button. And said, it came with a 36-inch NeoPixel blade. So when you insert this, it does have a pretty good fit in here. There's not like a big gap or anything, so it feels pretty good once it's in there. For this one in particular, and like I said, make sure you loosen your bottom retention screw, because that will actually be used for the blade. A lot of other sabers sometimes they'll have two retention screws there, but the bottom one won't actually be a retention screw for the blade. It'll just be maybe used for something else, but it's kind of disguised as being a second retention screw, if you know what I mean, or it's just something that's holding up, locking in an internal or something. But otherwise, that should cover that. So here's the blade. And what I'm going to do now to actually demo it, I'm going to go on the other side of my desk here so I can actually swing it around, and I'm going to have a 2-camera setup, one with ISO and aperture exposure all configured a little bit differently so you can actually see the effects on it, and then another one with more normal lighting, kind of like this, so you can see the luminance factor of everything. So because one thing that just kind of to note, when under these lighting conditions with the camera, it's very hard to actually pick up like little details that the blade might be doing, if there's like an effect, like an unstable effect or something, so it's creating like a wave, or if it's flashing different colors, just because it's so bright with the current ISO settings and everything that I have on this camera. It makes it really hard to see, and it's just a lot easier if you have the ability of doing a 2-camera setup for what I'm doing now, to use it that way, because then, I mean, you'll see it in just a second. All right, so as you guys can see here, got everything all set up. I got 2 different cameras here. So one of them is going to have some like different ISO settings, why it's dark, but it will allow you to see the blade a lot better, like the blade color and the blade effects, because you'll see here on the bigger camera, with the brightness levels and everything, it's hard for the actual colors to actually come through. So it just looks a lot of times like you'll see with this one, it looks very white, but you can see like the glowing light on me is very blue, and then on this camera here, it gives you a better representation of the actual color that's being used. So, and then I don't have a ton of room to actually like swing in here. I got like my gym stuff over here, and then my studio side. This room serves 2 purposes: my studio and it's my gym, but I'll swing it to the best of my abilities. Got your clash. That was a good example there. This has, if you clash on the tip, it will only show the clash effect up on the tip, and that's what she said. And the cameras, you could tell the difference there. So we'll go with that. Was one font that came on here, called like Smooth Jedi, I believe. This one's called Smooth Gray, I think. You see, this one kind of has like a pulsating, almost unstable kind of effect. And on this camera, there's really not as much white. It's kind of closer to how it looks on this one, on the darker one. So that's why I did both cameras, essentially. So then you got your flash. Smooth swing. And then what else are we doing? Flash, blasters. I like if you look at this one too, when you deactivate it, it deactivates upwards. So it has that slow ignition. but then when you deactivate, try to get the whole thing in frame, and it goes up towards the top. It was kind of cool.
Smooth fuzz.
Smooth fuzz. Despite what the brighter one is showing, that's just my light there. You can see in the mirror behind me. It's not white up here. It's just the light effect. So if you look at this camera here, it's just an all red blade. Rogue Commander. This is the same kind of like blue. It's just a blue version of the like unstable pulsating one from before.
Teensy.
This one kind of starts out white, starts out lighter. It's not really white, but it starts out with a lighter shade. And this is a great example of the difference in the camera settings, because it just looks like an entirely white blade on this lighter camera, but you can tell it's more of like this yellowish fade up to an orange-ish color. So see there at the bottom, it's lighter, goes up to a more solid orange. It's actually kind of hard to even see the blaster effects on that one on either camera.
Jedi.
Let me try doing this real quick. See if that camera actually, see if it looks any better. Eh. Okay. This one's kind of flashing. But you can barely even see it. See how it's kind of flashing between like it's like white to yellow very subtly. Whoops.
Smooth gray.
This one is like it fades up from a very lightish white to a like lightish white pink all the way up to like a more natural looking like pink color. You kind of see like And it's hard to tell on this one. But yeah, I mean, you can tell like on this camera, it looks almost entirely white. But then on the darker camera, I guess I'm pointing in the wrong way because it's backwards. But on that darker camera, you can tell it's actually supposed to be like a pink color, and it's lighter down here. And this isn't even. It might just be my monitor, or it might be the settings on the camera. Still, I may have needed to adjust the aperture, the exposure, or something because it's more of a hot pink. While this, at least on this monitor, it's looking more like a peachy pink, but to the eye, it's more of like a hot pink. But I may need to mess with it a little bit more for any future lightsaber demos. Here's another great example of the two cameras, because it looks entirely white, but you can tell by the reflection on the bottom of my arm here that it's blue, and then the darker camera clearly showcases that this is a red that kind of goes into like a pink into a blue. So you can see that. This one's probably the more odd one that's on here. It's just like a downward rainbow. There's that, and like I said, this one in particular looks much more like the darker camera one. It's nowhere near as like white as the lighter camera is showing. That's just the luminance coming through with the ISO settings and everything. Hence why, again, I used the two cameras for you guys. So the darker one's a much better representation of how this actually looks. Now, and this one did have just the tip lighting.
That's what she said.
Team C.
This one is like, I think it's supposed to be like a torch, because when you hold the saber downward like this, the light goes away, and then when you hold it up, it comes back. So, and it's more like the darker camera showcasing the color a lot better too.
Smooth Jedi. Team C.
It's like a tealish, lighter blue, green color.
Smooth Jedi.
That's why I said, man, it's hard to spin around in here because I got all this gym equipment.
Smooth gray.
And we're back. I think we've made it all the way around. Did we make it all the way around? I think we got the red. We already saw the red one. We must have made it all the way around now. Yep, we've made it all around now. So that was all the fonts. Like I said, these all came preloaded on here, so pretty decent for what they were. But let's get these lights turned back on, and I'll kind of wrap up the video here because that was pretty much everything that it had to offer as far as the sound fonts go. All right, so there you have it, guys. That was the demo and kind of I guess I'll give my final thoughts to call it a real review here, right? All in all, like I really like this thing, but it was my I'm very happy that I went ahead and got it. The NeoPixel blade, I will say, make sure you chart if you do get one at any point in time, or if you're considering getting one. A lot of people would recommend getting something with a CFX Crystal Focus 10 soundboard on it, because apparently it's a lot easier to, I don't know, I guess it's much more user friendly or easier to use, a lot of people say. Now, again, I can't really speak to that because this was actually my first one, and I wanted a Proffie board because from everything I've kind of done research on and seen other people talking about is that the Proffie boards have a lot more kind of overall potential, and you can do a lot more, I don't know, just custom things with it, with like a lot of pre-on effects. Unfortunately, none of the default like sound fonts that came on this thing actually really had anything, like that. So I'm gonna have to do some research and find some that I kind of want to add to it to kind of get started, because I'd really like to kind of get into creating and learn how to make my own fonts for it, because that was another reason why I wanted to go ahead and get like the Proffie one. Um, so all in all, though, I'm really happy with the purchase. I like the design of it, really like surprised me. 'Cause I thought it really looked cool. It looked really clean. But I mean, in this situation, the pictures did do it justice, because I thought the pictures that they had of it made it look like just really cool. It was really clean. Like when I was looking at both the Gunmetal one that was on the Pack Store's website and comparing it to their version of the regular Revan blade, I just kept sitting there thinking to myself, like, dude, the Gunmetal one looks better. Like I feel like it just looks cooler. And it certainly did not disappoint. Like, the only thing that, like, caught me off guard at first in comparison to the pictures was this, like, section here, this black section. On the website, just due to the lighting they had on it, that actually just looked gray as well. It just looked like a metallic gray. So, and I don't know if it has, like, a mirror finish, so, like, it might be kinda hard, like, as far as the camera goes to pick it up. Like, right there, that lighting is exactly how the camera was taken, so all the pictures on the site have that exact same glare on it. So, that's why I thought it was just, like, gray. But all in all, I'm very happy with it, and I would definitely recommend, I mentioned this in the, unboxing video, so if you haven't checked it out, uh go check that out as well. I went over, it wasn't just like a plain unboxing thing. Like I talked about, more reasons as to why I got that one. Spoke about like all the research I've done. So like some of the top 5 other like saber companies that I've heard, in my opinion. Well, not in my opinion, really. I've heard in the community there were 5 like primo, most recommended saber companies out there. So if you want a little bit more of that information, you can go check that video. I talk a little bit about that, talk about why I got that one a little bit, and I kind of went over that in this one as well. The only other thing that I forgot to mention is they did provide a charger, just one single battery charger for it as well. So they gave me the battery, an Allen wrench for the retention screws. They actually, I don't know where I put it. I already lost it, but they actually gave me a um, backup retention screw. So they gave you one extra retention screw in case you were to lose them, so you at least have one spare. Then the stand, and then last thing to note with them is I ordered it on like a pre-order status. So I ordered it maybe 2 weeks before it actually shipped, kind of thing. But it got shipped out. The first shipping like notification I got was on January 4th, and it arrived to me January 6th. And it came all the way from Hong Kong. So I ordered this literally, I got it in 2 days. So shout out to the pack store. Like they used DHL. They didn't have a way for you to like change your shipping or pay for express shipping or anything like that. It was just standard flat rate shipping. DHL was the carrier, and it got here in 2 days from overseas. Like, it's kind of crazy. So I was really happy with that. No complaints, really. I literally have no complaints with it. It looks just as cool in person as I thought it did on the site. So I would, if you already have like the other two Revan blades, like you just like the standard, more screen accurate ones, um, yeah, I mean, there's really no need for you to get it unless you like the look of it. If you like the look of it, then I would say, hell yeah, go for it because I mean, it looks really clean. I love how it looks. Like I don't know. Some people might think it would look kind of like basic, and I could totally get that because it's just like pretty much one solid color throughout. But like I said, it does have this part that's black, so I mean, it does have a little bit more going for it than just being one boring color. And I initially thought, I guess if I wanted to nitpick for anything on it, the only thing that like kind of stands out to me after like having it for a while is the pommel is like totally a different color. And it's not something that like really like bothers me by any means, but I mean it is not the same color, guys. I don't know, they probably just reused the same pommel, I would imagine, from something else, but it's absolutely not this gunmetal color. I can tell you that. So the only thing I would say that I was worried about was that they were selling this variant as a way to just like not paint one and not finish one, you know what I mean? Because the other ones got like a chrome glossy finish with the black paint detailing in it everywhere. So I was like, I bet they're just selling this gunmetal variant at like the same price, but it's actually less labor going into it because they don't have to do any extra work. But it doesn't seem to be the case for that, just because it's not, like I said, it's not that standard. It's not the same like silverish chrome finish. So I would imagine they are using like separate materials, and it's not just unpainted versions of the other blade or the other hilt that they're just selling as a variant. That was my initial concern, but that really, I don't think that would be the case with it, in all honesty, because like I said, this it's a completely different color finish. It's like a silver chrome, and like, so I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know. But if you guys have any recommendations for some good fonts that are compatible with a Proffie board, let me know down in the comment section below. I know Kyberphonic is a good one. I know he's got a ton of great ones, but if you got any other ones, maybe links to some like free ones that you think are pretty cool, drop them down in the comment section below for me and for anyone else out there who would want them. If you have any, let me know what your favorite custom lightsaber company is. Let me know if you're thinking about actually getting one, or if you already have one, what's the next one that you're going to get. I do have, I mean, I guess a little announcement here. I have, how do I want to put this? I have more than one, but less than 5 custom lightsabers coming to me soon. So there will be more unboxings and more reviews, and as I dive more into the actual Proffie board stuff, to get some new fonts on there, I might make a follow-up video to kind of demo like some new sound fonts that I get for this thing, and then obviously if I start making any, I might showcase some of those as well. But I'll definitely have some more in a couple months. I'm going to have some new hot toys coming as well, so I'll have some more unboxing reviews of those. Like I said, a couple other custom lightsabers are going to be coming, and I'm going to actually go through and start reviewing a bunch of my collectibles that I have. This is just like, this is nothing. My entire house is full of this crap, so figure I might as well make videos of them, because as you can see here, I love just rambling on about all these collectibles and stuff, because it's fun. I like all this stuff. I love it. That's why I buy it. But anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think of the lightsaber down in the comment section below. Are you going to get one? Did I convince you to get the gunmetal one over the regular one? Or are you still going to get the regular one? Let me know again what your favorite lightsaber company is down in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget, we have a podcast every Monday. It comes out around 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's available then. And you can submit topics and questions to us and that we can address on the show, or if you have just any questions for me in general, you can hit me up at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. Sorry, Rick just popped in here too, so you can come say hi, Rick. Come say hey. I was finishing up this review here. You were muted there. So, sorry, yeah. But yeah, do this. Rick, you got me all flustered. I don't know what buttons to press. No, yeah. So we're gonna actually get started on that show I was just speaking of right now. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Till next time, take care.